Hello, welcome. In this video, we're talking about how to get back on track with 10 ways to get out of a funk. The first one is to get creative. This can be difficult if you're feeling really down. You might not want to do anything. This is the way I get, is I just want to like watch TV or films and just like escape into that. Even reading feels like a lot of effort. When I am able to be creative, it really does save me. About a month ago, I was going through this episode that was really difficult, but what helped me, and I don't know where like this inclination came from, but it was making a zine. I basically found a load of poetry that I wrote like 8 years ago, started editing it and putting it together in Canva into a zine. I will link some of the tutorials that I used. It was actually so simple, and within 3 hours, which you might be like, oh my gosh, that's such a long time, but I got like absorbed in the process, as you do if you're doing something creative and that really fulfills you. Within like 3 hours, I had what's here, but I don't want to show you. I had this booklet of poetry that I'd printed off, and it was all in the right order. I folded the pages together. I was able to like hold this thing in my hand and be like, I created this. That's such a powerful thing. Like, this thing didn't used to exist, and now this thing exists as a physical thing in the world. That's the other thing. So much is digital now. Like, we take photos or we make videos, but it's digital. So there's something nice about having like an actual physical thing that you're like, I made this. It connects you with something outside of yourself. Creating a collage, knitting, sewing, doing a puzzle maybe. Anything like that is going to help you feel alive again, like reconnect to some spark that will remind you like, oh, things will be okay. This day or this episode may have been difficult, but there are still things that can bring me joy on these bad days. I will link the videos that have helped me make my own zine because it was such an easy process and so rewarding. Next thing is to go outside, or even just like open your windows, just like fresh air. It might just be like the symbolic thing of like movement of air, like fresh energy, but it's just so nice going to stand at your front door and breathing in the fresh air. That's a very small thing to do, and sometimes those are the only things we can manage when we're feeling really low. But for what it is, for that small action of opening a window, I find it has such a disproportionate benefit. Like, I feel so much better than you would think from just doing that one small thing. Next thing to get out of a funk, look at the sky, and this is linked with the fresh air window one. If you can just maybe over a period of days as you're trying to get out of this funk, when you open your curtains, start noticing what the sky looks like, and you'll start to notice the difference in the light quality when there are clouds and it's more hazy. Like now there's blue sky and the sun is over there, but there's plenty of clouds as well, so the sky is like white but with this blue, like the clouds are like transparent white. If you get used to going outside, going for a walk and looking at the sky, especially as well if you go either in the morning where the sky might be like loads of different peach shades, or in the evening it can be like beautiful pink shades, but it can also be like lilac and purple, hazy. The clouds can look like silver as it's getting dark. It helps me to look at that like vast expanse of space. It helps me breathe a bit and be like, okay, I am very small compared to all of this. Same goes for like looking at the night sky, if that's possible, just to like widen your perspective. Somewhere where you can see like all around the horizon. There's like a lot of flat space, which obviously is difficult to do in a city, but there will be parks where you can maybe get some of this perspective and just like look up and look at the sky. And it's such a small thing, but I wanted to focus on like little things because they actually work, and this is stuff that I think you could feasibly do if you're still feeling very low mood or feeling in a funk. It could help if you want to document this as well, so not only will you be starting to notice the sky, the colors at different times, the clouds and how pretty they look and the way they look in different lights, but start like taking photos. So just like take your phone with you on a walk, and when the sky looks cool, be like, cool, I'm gonna take a photo of that. Look, this cloud looks like a bear, right? The next thing is to talk to someone. And I don't mean talk about your problems. I just mean have a really banal conversation. Don't view it like that as like a boring thing. Try and approach it with curiosity and be like, outside of whatever's going on with me and my feelings, I want to talk to this person and see how their day has gone. It helps to remind you that other people exist, because sometimes I find when I have these like episodes or when I feel so low, it's very like cerebral, or it's very like all about my feelings, my experiences, the way I'm feeling, all consuming. And so just having a nice conversation with someone, or even just going to a place where there are lots of other people around and you can hear other people talking, like go sit in a coffee shop or go sit on a bench on the high street, seeing other people, it reminds you that they exist. Your thoughts can grow, or at least, yeah, my thoughts can grow so big and scary when I'm by myself, but talking to someone reminds me that other people exist, other things exist, and that I'm part of something bigger. The next way is to do a physical reset. So we just talked about how it can be a lot up here, a lot of thoughts, a lot of bleak things, a lot of like out of proportion things. At least I find I can start thinking things which I know aren't true, but they feel true. So I can start thinking that like nobody cares about me. Those things can grow very big. One way to like counteract all of that noise and all of those thoughts is to reconnect to the physical. I'm including things like taking deep breaths. So either like put on a meditation or just like start counting to yourself and be like, I'm going to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4. Have a shower. Anything that's going to reconnect you to your body. Do some stretching, change your clothes. I don't care if it's like 10 p.m. and you're like, what's the point in me like changing into some different clothes, or like 5 p.m. whatever, get into some different pajamas. Just like change something, have a bit of a physical reset. It doesn't have to be like this, I'm gonna get my yoga mat out, or like, oh, I need to clear space on the carpet to be able to do some yoga to like do this physical reset. Do like something like neck circles or like shoulder circles. Like you don't even have to get up, just do this. Right? That felt weird. But a physical reset. And linked to that, I've put sensory reset. So this is really helpful for me as well, I think, because it counteracts all of the noise. It reminds you of like the physical reality as opposed to just all of the feelings, the emotions, the thoughts that are going on in your head. This would include have a bath and use fancy bath bomb or like some bath oil. Put on a candle as you're in the bath. Like mix and match all of this stuff. Just put on a candle like as you're sat on your bed. Even if you just do that one thing, that might make a difference. I like the symbolism of candles. I like watching the flames move, the light flickering. Bonus points, obviously, if we're talking about like a scented candle. Spray some perfume, listen to some of your favorite music. That's part of a sensory reset. Or like put on some ambient background noise or just some like classical music. I really like the peaceful piano playlist on Spotify. Make yourself a cup of tea, a hot water bottle, engaging each of your senses, right? Or if cup of tea, I mean, I will always drink tea no matter the weather. It could be 30 degrees and boiling hot. I'm still going to have a cup of tea. But if you're like, that does not appeal, have then something really cold. Get some ice and have ice water, or have like a cold lemonade from your fridge. Snuggle under your blanket, like get out your really soft blankets. Something different is going to help you have a sensory reset. Also praying, meditating while mix and matching any of these other things. Maybe you're going to sit with your candle going and your hot water bottle and like pray for a bit. Then that's like a nice mix of physical sensory rest, as well as then trying to replace some of the negative things that are happening in your mind with something positive or some gratitude or something reflective as opposed to like reactive. The next one is not going to be a surprise if you have watched my channel before. It's to journal. This is something that is going to be very helpful if you're in a funk and you feel up to doing this. I would highly recommend. Write about whatever you want. Do like a brain dump or some free writing of all of your feelings in a Word document. You don't even have to get up out of bed. This could be like the only thing you do on the list, but it may spark something else. So you may have been listening to all I've been saying so far and been like, nope, not doing any of that. Like I don't have the energy, I don't have the inclination, I can't do that. But you're already on your laptop watching this video or you're on your phone watching this video. Open up your Word document or open up your notes app and just start writing about how you feel. And who knows, just by expressing that, giving these cloud of thoughts, putting that into words, that may change something and have like a domino effect. So suddenly then you start thinking like, oh, what did she say about making a zine? Like, I want to look through some of the stuff I've written. I want to print some stuff out. Or yeah, I will put a candle on. Any of these small things add up to bigger things because they can cause like a knock-on effect. So you could write a gratitude list. You could write a letter to your past self, a letter to your future self, a letter to someone who you don't speak to anymore. You could write a letter to someone that you would never ever send. So you might be really angry or really upset and you're stewing about this and you have all these thoughts going and it's making you feel like you will never have good friends because why are people treating you like this? Write a letter to that person that you will never ever send so you can be as honest and like as expressive as you want. Get those feelings out. Write an angry letter to God, either like freehand or as you say, type it up and then delete it or rip it up. Write a poem about what you're going through and do all of this without judgment. So don't, as you're writing your poem, be like, this is so cliche or this is so pathetic. Don't be thinking that. Just be very plainly expressing yourself and be like, I am here. This is what I'm experiencing. The whole point is to be able to express what you're going through and try and release some of that so that you're not just carrying it around in your head. The next one is to cook something. This is on the list because it's definitely something I can neglect to do when I'm feeling in a funk and I'm feeling very low mood. I usually like cooking, love trying new recipes. I like making multicolored meals. It brings me a lot of joy. It feels like a nice symbolic thing to do for my body because for so long I was in my addiction, not taking care of myself. So making a nice nourishing meal, I'm like, oh, I'm putting in effort and I'm looking after myself physically as well as taking care of myself mentally, as we are talking about. If you feel able, even if it's just like heating up a can of soup or chopping up an onion and having that with some store-bought tomato pasta sauce, even if it's something small, but maybe you've tried some of the things on this list and you're now feeling like you've built some momentum, this is great. And you can now be like, I'm gonna make some berry cakes or some muffins or some cookies. I'm gonna make like a veggie scramble. I'm gonna make soup from scratch, scrambled eggs or boil some eggs. I think also important is to do something for someone else. You just made some soup. You could offer it to someone either in like a Tupperware or with whoever you live with. Be like, hey, what are you having for dinner? I just made this soup. You can like volunteer your time. This is one to be careful with, obviously, because if we're just coming out of a funk and not feeling great, you don't want to like overcommit yourself or put yourself in a more difficult situation emotionally where you then feel bad if you can't make something or whatever. So like, we're not going overboard. A lower stakes version of that would be to call a friend, maybe someone you know who is struggling, or someone you've only had like surface interactions with. Be like, actually, I'm just going to check in on this person and maybe we'll have a nice conversation. If there's someone who lives nearby, not only could you call them, but you could be like, hey, I just made some cupcakes, shall I bring some over? And then go and see them. And especially if they've been struggling as well, you're helping someone else. And I know it's really difficult to think like that if you yourself are struggling, but it can also help you get out of yourself a bit in the same way that talking to someone else can. You remember like, oh, other people exist. I can help them. I may be struggling. They may also be struggling. I can like reach out and help them. Do something for someone else, even if it's just like making someone you live with a cup of tea. Practice gratitude and mindfulness. Write a gratitude list. We already talked about journaling, but the reason that this is so important is that it gives you space to both acknowledge the bad moment that you're in, but also to recognize that there are things in that moment that you can be grateful for. On my really bad days, maybe all I'm able to do is watch TV. But I can still be grateful for whoever it is creatively who made those films. I can be grateful that I have whatever subscription to watch this film. I can be grateful for my laptop that I watch the film on. And mindfulness, it helps you to remember that your feelings won't last forever. This bad moment won't last forever. No matter how much it feels like it will, eventually something will change. And you just need to be maybe curious enough to be like, when will that be? Or will this help? Let me do some writing. Is that going to help? No? Okay, cook something. Will that help? Phoning someone? Does that help? Like, be curious about what might help you, but also have like compassion for yourself and know that in the moment, even if you have all these ideas or you wish you could do some of the things we talked about on this list, know that at some point something will change. So your creativity will return, your sincere gratitude will return. So maybe you've been like writing this gratitude list and you don't really feel grateful, but you've just written it because you do still have things to be grateful for. There will be a point where you look back and you're like, oh, I actually am grateful. Like, I actually really do feel it. I'm not just writing it down and like repeating it. I hope this list has given you some direction to help you get back on track. These are all things that have helped me. So I know that they have the ability to help you as well if you try them out. And I really, really hope that they do. I will let the algorithm pick a video if you want to watch another video from me. The one on screen is one that YouTube thinks that you will specifically enjoy, picked especially for you. So feel free to check that out if you'd like. God bless. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.